just want to know what happened from June to now. Honestly, I just want to know what happened from June to now. It is a very, very interesting college football weekend. It was a very interesting college football weekend in week 7. And now we're here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon after a raucous week 7. I got 2 games right. I got 2 games wrong. I struck out. You know how you say that, okay, right? You know, you're swinging for the home run and then you swing and then you completely just miss. You're not even close to the ball. On 2 games, that was me. I wasn't even close to the ball. I struck out completely. Now, I was pretty accurate on 2 other games, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But man, what happened from June to now in State College, Pennsylvania? That's what we're going to talk about as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow all the pages there. You're going to get news updates, college football takes from me, and all things Pigskin Frenzy on there as well. And you're going to get bedtime college football talk. So subscribe and follow because you're going to love bedtime college football talk at the end of each games on Saturday night. Now, the website's www.pigskinfrenzy.com. www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You're going to love it. Updates for Pigskin Frenzy all to the 9s. You're going to love the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. And you can contact me there as well. Guys, 5,400 listeners. We're about to be at 5,500 listeners. Guys, a huge thank you and a big thank you for tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday. Because without you, we wouldn't be doing this. And most importantly, without our Lord and Savior Jesus, we would not be doing this as well. We give him all the praise and glory for doing Pigskin Frenzy and for delivering us Pigskin Frenzy, but also blessing us to be in the sport of college football and be in college football media. Because without him, we wouldn't be in college football media. And so we give him all the praise and glory for this wonderful job that we have and our wonderful thing that we have going with Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, keep on plugging into Pigskin Frenzy. And by the way, we praise Jesus. And if you want to come to know Jesus, it's the best decision you could ever make in your life. So, X and Instagram's at Pigskin_Frenzy. Message me on there. And you can also message me on the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com about that. Jesus, we praise him. It's the best decision you can ever make in your life. Go, and we can talk about following Jesus as well. So, college football, we're going to talk about what happened at State College. We're just going to end it with that, all right? We got to end the episode with that. We got games to talk about. 2-2 on my picks this week. Shout out to Trey Wallace from Outkick. He beat me this week pretty much. The only game we got wrong, as we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, is out in Eugene. But let's talk about the games that I got right first, and then we will get to the games that I got wrong as well. So let's talk about the games that I got right. Kicking it off in Champaign, Ohio State and Illinois. Ohio State, Illinois. Very, very interesting game here. I thought that it was going to be at least, and by interesting, I mean, it wasn't interesting because Ohio State won. They blew them out, right? But what I'm saying is this. It was interesting in the fact that I thought that Ohio State was going to go 14 points and Illinois was going to cover. So not really cover, but I think Ohio State was going to cover, but Illinois was going to slightly make it more competitive than it was. That's where I'm getting with that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive than it was. Didn't turn out to be the case. Ohio State wins the ball game 34-16. Ohio State beats Illinois 34-16. Ohio State on both sides of the ball shot themselves in the foot in a lot of ways. Could have had touchdowns, had to settle for 3 in some drives. But guess what happened? Ohio State still won the ball game, and Ohio State still looked dominant. So, no wonder people are saying Ohio State's the best team in college football because of stuff like that. They shoot themselves in the foot, and they still controlled the game. Shows it does bring a lot up. It brings a lot to the point where, okay, if we're shooting ourselves in the foot in a lot of ways, and you're still controlling the game, that tells you something about who Ohio State is and how good Ohio State is. Let's talk about the positive and negative circle moments for this game. Here we go. See, I had to do the pencil thing, or the pen thing again. Let's talk about Julian Sayin, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, 19 for 27. C.J. Donaldson Jr., 2 touchdowns, 44 yards, 13 carries. They didn't run the ball a whole lot and effectively, I believe. I mean, they did. 106 rushing yards total, but they could have been better at running the football. We're going to talk about the running game here a little bit more. Jeremiah Smith, 42 yards, a touchdown, 5 receptions. You also had Bo Jackson at receiver, 20 yards, 2 receptions, and 1 touchdown, 10 yards per reception. Carnell Tate, 41 yards, 4 receptions, and 10.2 yards per reception. Ohio State looked good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, they were very physical, very aggressive. Matt Patricia, they said, I was curious about Matt Patricia being the coordinator there. I think a lot of people were curious about Matt Patricia being the coordinator there, but he has turned out to be a good hire for the Buckeyes defense and the Buckeyes football team. So Matt Patricia, really good on defense. Brian Hartline still calling great plays on the offense as well. They look good. They're feeling good. They shot themselves in the foot in a lot of areas, and they still have ways they can grow, but they still control the game, and that's scary. And Illinois, to me, they're not ranked right now, but they're 5-2, and that team, Illinois, has the potential of being a 10-win team. So they control the game like that. Even though they shot themselves in the foot on a lot of drives, it's telling me something about Ohio State. This is a team that has the potential, if they want it, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, it has the potential of going back-to-back. So take it as you will. I'm not saying they're going back-to-back. I'm just saying there's a possibility. Let's just leave that out there. There's a possibility. Let's go with the positive circle moments. I think the positive circle moments have 8 for 15 on third down. Very efficient on third down. They converted a lot of their drives on third down. They allowed 0 sacks. They protected Julian Sayin well. That's a huge positive circle moment there. And a clean game. 0 penalties, 0 turnovers. No, excuse me, not 0 penalties, 0 turnovers. I was looking at the wrong note. 7 penalties for 59 yards. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. 0 penalties, 0 turnovers is a thing there. 0 turnovers. That's really good for Ohio State. The 7 penalties for 59 yards, rather, Joel. Let's get back on track here. 7 penalties for 59 yards. Very negative circle moment. You can clean that up. You got to minimize that. But after that, you're good, right? I think Ohio State will get that under control, be a little bit more disciplined. It's not the end of the world. You still control the game. I think the penalties need to clean up. I think in certain moments you need to be better disciplined, but it's all good. It's all good. I think that's the only negative circle moment that I can think of right now. I will say this. I think that is the main negative circle moment is the penalties. I will say what alarms me a little bit is you got to run the ball a little bit better and a little bit more. And 4.3 yards per play. I think those things right there are the negative circle moments for Ohio State. I think shooting themselves in the foot on certain drives was the negative circle moment. Only when you could have scored, and this game could have been a lot worse. You only kick field goals. I think Ohio State, to me, overall, that just goes to show you how good Ohio State is, I guess. But honestly, those are the only really negative circle moments I can think of. Overall, they played really good. Defensively, they played good. Be better disciplined and just, dial up some more plays. Honestly, time of possession, 33 minutes, 11 seconds compared to their 26 minutes and 49 seconds. They won the time of possession game. They controlled the clock. They were good on third down. They outmanned Illinois, and that was what it was. They just outmanned Illinois. There's levels to this, and right now Ohio State's on a different level than Illinois, and I think that was the main thing about this football game. That's really it. What else can you say about Ohio State in this game? I want to talk about Illinois. I'm not saying that. Illinois has got some things to work on as they finish out their season, but what do you think? What do you think that was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? Honestly, what did you think? This isn't a Alabama-Mizzou game. This isn't where it could have gone either way. This wasn't a Indiana-Oregon. This wasn't a, this wasn't a, for example, Texas, Georgia or whatever. You can go either way. I mean, and it's not a knock at Illinois. I'm not saying it that way. Illinois is a very good football team. I just think Ohio State has dudes and they outmanned them. I think they got outmanned. That's it. Illinois is a good football team, and Illinois is going to win 10-plus games, I believe. I think Illinois has a shot at probably winning out their whole schedule. The problem is they're playing Ohio State on that Saturday, and Ohio State is better. That's it. Final score, 34-16. Ohio State's just better. That's all you have to say. Ohio State coming up this Saturday has Wisconsin at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on CBS. Very interesting to see what's going to happen on the road in Madison, Wisconsin, with Ohio State at Wisconsin. That's going to be an interesting game there. Then you got Illinois. Illinois in this ball game, they're going to go on a bye, and they play Washington on October 25th in Seattle, where that game could be a good game. Overall, it could go either way, but Illinois has a shot at winning that game. But let's talk about Illinois. I think the one thing they needed to really do was run the football and run it better, and they couldn't do that. And I think that was the problem. 47 rushing yards. That's a negative circle moment for the Illini. Nothing wrong with Illinois. I'm not saying that. I'm just being honest. You need to run the football better. And I've said that for the longest time, that Illinois needs to run the football better in some of these games, and they haven't had that shot. They passed the ball well. They outgained Ohio State in passing yards, 248 yards, 295 total yards as well, compared to Ohio State's 272 total yards. So those were some positive circle moments for Illinois. Let's look at some positive circle moments here. I mean, let's talk about 4 penalties. 4 penalties, 19 yards, not very many penalties. I mean, you got Luke Altmaier trying his best out there. I mean, 1 touchdown, 248 yards, 30 for 44. Laurie had 1 touchdown, 50 yards and 8 carries. But overall, the running game couldn't get going as a whole. Those are some of the positive circle moments, some of the bright spots that you can take away from what Illinois did at home against Ohio State. But let's talk about the overall negative circle moments so they can clean it up. 4 for 14 on third down. Not great, not terrible, too terrible, but not. It needed to be better in this ball game. I think, 4 sacks. They allowed 4 sacks in this game. 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 1 interception, 3 turnovers in this game. You're not going to win many games when they're controlling the clock and they're winning on third down and you have 3 turnovers and you're not running the ball as well. You're a little bit more one-dimensional. Ohio State did what I said that they needed to do to Illinois. Let's make them one-dimensional. And they did that. They made them one-dimensional, and that was ball game, honestly. Oh, Illinois is, like I said, they're going to win 10-plus games. They have a test on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. Or next Saturday. They have a test next Saturday in Seattle. Don't get me wrong. But I will say this. They made them one-dimensional. They got to find ways to win. I think Illinois is a good team. They just got to play better in certain areas. Running the ball in certain areas and not being one-dimensional. Be a little bit more open. I think in other games when they play, they're not as one-dimensional, but they had 2 losses on the year, and it's probably going to be the collision course that we're seeing in Indianapolis. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Illinois goes on the road next week against Washington. Could that be a Pigskin Frenzy game? I don't know, but they're going on the road against Washington. We'll see how they do there. Very interesting game between both teams. Washington has Michigan this Saturday, but we'll see how Illinois does. But they got to play better. You got to run the ball better, and you got to be a little bit protective of that ball. Have a little bit better ball security. 2 fumbles, 1 pick. It's not going to cut it in big-time games in the Big Ten. So final score of this game was 34-16. Ohio State beats Illinois, and they cover. Ohio State plays Wisconsin. Illinois has a bye before next week returning to action against Washington. Let's move on to Columbia. That's the second game that I got right. And then we'll go with the games that I got wrong. Alabama, Missouri. I said Alabama was going to win this game by 3. I think the score I said was like 31-28, I believe, by 3. But I got it right. Dead point accuracy, not the score, but dead point accuracy on the covering, the prediction. Got it all right. Alabama wins 27-24. Let me just say this. people are going to think, dude, how was it close? I think it was close on paper in a lot of ways, and Missouri fought hard. But I do feel like in a lot of ways the game got away from them time-wise, and you're going to see what I mean here in a little bit. Let's talk about Alabama. Ty Simpson, again, is proving my point. He's proving my point consistently, and I've said it last week. If you don't remember, he's the best quarterback in the country on a consistent basis. He's playing consistently like the best quarterback in college football since week 2. Week 1, that's his first game. But week 2 now, and we're about to be in week 8, playing at a high level in the SEC and in college football. 23 for 31, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jam Miller had a good running game, but unfortunately he got hurt. Thoughts and prayers are with him. We'll see what his availability is to the Tennessee game. 20 carries, 85 yards. The running game could be a little bit better, sure, but the throwing game was on point. Lonzier Brooks had 58 yards, 4 receptions, 14.5 yards per reception on average. Isaiah Horton, 34 yards, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown. You also had Jeremy Bernard a little bit in the game. In the game, right? He played a little bit, but mainly Brooks. Brooks had himself a day, and Isaiah Horton had himself a day as well. You had Kevin Riley for a touchdown. You had Daniel Hill for a touchdown as well receiving. So Ty Simpson played really good throwing the ball as well, and they controlled the clock well also. Positive circle moments, 200 passing yards compared to their 167 passing yards. You also had 16 for 15 on third down, so they did well on third down. 3 for 3 on fourth down efficiency. When they went for it on fourth down and they dialed it up and they went for it, Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer were 100% on fourth down. So when the game was on the line, booyah. You rely on Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. I'm not saying that again. Why would I say booyah like that again? That was weird. Anyway, the negative circle moments come in. Maybe the fumble, I would say. The 1 fumble, 5 penalties, 30 yards. Got to clean that up. 4 sacks allowed. I think they got to protect Tyson a little bit better, but that's it. I think they can get that cleaned up quick. 4.3 yards per play. Capitalizing in the red zone is key, and I think they need to capitalize better in the red zone. Other than that, Alabama is rolling, and they're on a mission. I knew, and I had a feeling that they were going to go on the road and win this game. 38 minutes and 33 seconds. That's the time of possession for Alabama. Mizzou is first in the SEC still in time of possession. Second behind them is the team they lost to, Alabama. Alabama is top 2 in time of possession in the Southeastern Conference. They know how to play ball control football, and it's dangerous, and it's demoralizing, and it's draining. A lot of people aren't paying attention to Alabama, and they need to start. I'm just going to give you that warning shot right now. They need to start paying attention to Alabama. I think a little bit of more ESPN-type mainstream media is paying attention to Alabama. I think people on X and some others in the media are looking at Ohio State, Miami, and they need to. I think teams like Texas Tech, Alabama, I will say Texas Tech because I think Texas Tech needs to be paid attention to as well, but Alabama needs to be paid attention to a lot more. A lot more. I don't know why people are, have you seen them eye test wise? Yeah, they're winning games. What are we not seeing, right? I mean, what are y'all not paying attention to? Y'all not paying attention to Alabama? Ty Simpson's throwing great. They're making good play calls. They're moving the ball down the field. They're controlling clock. They're playing pretty good football. And a lot of people are going to say, they're kind of like, they're not playing the best. What are you talking about? I saw a lot of people say that on X about Alabama, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I missing? Because Alabama looks really good. And I'm talking about Atlanta good. I'm not talking about just college football playoff good. I'm talking about Atlanta good. We'll see what happens. Bama looks good. They got Tennessee on Saturday in the third Saturday of October. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 kick on ABC. Saturday night game in Tuscaloosa. First time in a minute of the third Saturday of October is a night game. Spoiler alert, that's a Pigskin Frenzy game, so we won't talk much about that until Thursday, but we'll talk about that at the very end a little bit and preview Thursday's episode. But yeah, I mean, Alabama, third Saturday of October. That's going to be a good one coming up Saturday night in Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny. Alabama looks good. They're rolling. They look like a team that's on a mission. 27-24 was the final score of this one. Let's not write off Missouri, though, yet. Mizzou is a team, to me, that they did lose one, yes, but I feel like they still have a shot to where they can just keep on going and truck along. I really do. I still think Mizzou's a dangerous team. Yes, they did get a lucky ranking this week in the AP. They only dropped 2 spots. I think they respect Mizzou a little bit, but I respect Mizzou a lot too because they played Bama close. Now, they played Bama close in a lot of ways. I think Mizzou's defense was playing Alabama's offense really good, actually. I think they played them good. I think Bama just kept firing back with more shots and were really bold on fourth down and kind of demoralized Mizzou's defense a little bit. They were on the field 38 minutes, 33 seconds, 21-27. That's the comparison. They only had 21 minutes of 27 seconds of total time of possession. Mizzou did. Bama was on the field for 38 minutes total. So it's like Mizzou's defense was seeing more of the field that game. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit tired. I think that overall, Mizzou will be just fine. Let's talk about the positive circle moments they had, though. They outgained them yards per play, 5.9 yards per play. They only allowed 2 sacks. I mean, it's not the best, but not too bad. I will say running the ball, 163 rushing yards, outgained them there. They had more total yards compared to Alabama by only like 330 compared to their 325. Let's talk about Bo Pribula, 2 touchdowns. Bo Pribula also had a rushing touchdown. Ahmad Hardy, 52 yards, 12 carries. Norfley had a touchdown. Olugbode had 1 touchdown, 55 yards, 3 receptions. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't play bad offensively overall. They just had some critical errors, like the turnovers, and the defense just kind of got gassed out. And I think Bama ended up having a better game plan and executing it a lot better than Mizzou did at the very end. That's what it was. I think Bama played just a tiny bit better than Mizzou in that game. I thought Mizzou played good. Bama just played a little bit better. That's how I view the game. A lot of people are going to think, dude, are you psychotic? Are you crazy? I just think Mizzou is a solid team still that people need to pay attention to. I really do. They go on the road against Jordan Hare. I favor Mizzou in that game as well. I know it's on the road. Auburn's going to play them close. I think Mizzou will be in a dogfight, but I think Mizzou will play them close, and I lean Mizzou more than Auburn this Saturday. Let's go with the negative circle moments. The negative circle moments, 1 for 10 on third down, and I will say the 2 turnovers, really. The 2 turnovers and 1 for 10 on third down. You have to be better on third down in big-time games like this, and you have to have better ball security in big-time games as well. And Bo Pribula, they didn't really have that as well, so that's tough. I think just change that up and clean that up, and you're fine. Mizzou, like I said, they're 5-1. They have Auburn on Saturday. I lean more towards Mizzou in that game. And then after that, they have Vandy in a showdown. So their next 3 games are pretty good. I mean, Auburn, at Vandy, they go back home and play Texas A&M. So after a bye, so those games are going to be crucial. A&M and Mizzou may be a Pigskin Frenzy game on November 8th if the trajectory keeps going the way it's going. That looks like a fun game. Mizzou has a shot at winning all 3 and being 8-1 by November 15th. So watch out for Mizzou, man. The way they're humming and the way they're playing, they're doing good. They just played a better Bama team, and that's how I looked at it. Final score of this game was 27-24. Alabama beats Missouri. Very interesting back and forth game. Bama's got the third Saturday of October. Coming up on Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central in Auburn. Mizzou plays Auburn in Jordan Hare. Should be a fun one there as well. So that was the 2 games that I got right. Let's talk about the 2 games that I got wrong and I just completely struck out. The Red River Rivalry I told Trey Wallace on Thursday from Outkick, again, shout out to him, and shout out to Clay Travis and Outkick. They do a great job over at Outkick, so shout out to them as well. I talked about the Red River Rivalry, and I said, okay, before I went on the air and started recording, started getting everything going, I was back and forth on this game. Really heavily back and forth on this game. Should I go with Texas? Because Texas is coming off of a huge loss to Florida. They may be a little bit more fired up, like they need this win more. At the same time, John Mateer may come back, and then OU's defense looks good. They lead the SEC in sacks. But yet again, I don't know, John Mateer, are they rushing him back? I thought about everything. So then I ended up going with OU. I picked OU because I thought the defense was going to be the outcome of this game and make a difference in this game against the Texas offensive line and against Arch Manning, who at the time, before Saturday at least, kind of had trouble in the pocket moving around, and OU could end up taking that and take advantage and capitalize on that. Final score of this game was Texas 23, Oklahoma 6. To me, just in my opinion, game really wasn't that close. Now, a lot of people are going to sit there and say, what are you talking about? On paper, I mean, passing yards, Oklahoma had more passing yards. Yeah, sure. Overall, the feel, the vibe, everything was just Texas was going to beat Oklahoma, especially in the second half. Texas, they wanted this game, and they played like it. They really wanted to redeem themselves after that Florida loss, and they sure did. They proved me wrong, and they made me eat my words. I will admit that wholeheartedly. I admit when I'm wrong, all right? I am not ashamed of admitting when I'm wrong, and I'm going to admit when I'm wrong right now. Texas played good. Let's talk about Texas. 302 yards compared to Oklahoma's 258. That's a positive circle moment. Arch Manning played good. Arch Manning, a touchdown, 166 yards, 21 for 27, 34 yards, 4 carries. Kachavian Wisner had 94 yards, 22 carries. DeAndre Moore, a touchdown, 50 yards, 3 receptions. Wingo had 35 yards, 5 receptions. The defense played really good. They snagged 3 turnovers in this game. So they were physical up front, and they moved the ball well. Arch Manning probably played one of the best games, if not the best game, of his collegiate career starting. So I believe that, and he did it when it counted, and he did it when it mattered. At a big-time level. I think he played the best. I mean, he played great against a Sam Houston State, and I'm not saying nothing against Sam Houston State, but this is different. I'm talking about at a Power 4 level. Power 4 level. He started against State last year. I know. I'm talking about at a first full time this season. This is the best game he's had this season against a Power 4 team. Best game he's had this season. Now, we hadn't seen Kentucky yet, but I'm saying so far, this is it. He went out there and proved a lot of people wrong Saturday. He silenced a lot of people who were doubting him and hating on him and talking. I didn't hate on him. I never said anything bad about Arch Manning. I just said that Texas was struggling with a little bit of play calling. Now, I didn't put Arch Manning on the top 10 quarterback list because I think he was too premature. I still think it's still premature, but Arch Manning's going to get better. And I also said that point. He's going to get better, and he's getting better. So it's just going to take time. Keep on going. Keep on going. Just keep trugging along. It's a step-by-step process. Joel Embiid says, trust the process for the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. He says, trust the process. Tom Fornelli, when he does his best, he says, trust the process. Trust the process on Arch Manning. Just keep on. Let him keep going. Let him keep playing. It's his first full-time season. It's his first full season starting. Let him keep going. Let him gel more. Let's talk about the team stats. 136 rushing yards compared to Oklahoma's 48. We're going to talk about that with Oklahoma in a minute. Yards per play, 4.9. Third down, they were 10 for 17. That's pretty good on third down. They converted big on third down when it counted, and that's kind of how I knew that Texas was going to win the ball game, because they were converting big on third down. A lot of good big chunk third down conversions as well. They were going to win the ball game. There's no doubt. They wanted it more, and OU's defense was kind of like, just okay. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm kind of just laying off, and it seemed like they were. Now, I will say this. and I will say this, they played a clean game as well with 0 turnovers. Texas did not turn the ball over, and that is a big advantage in this ball game, and that's a huge positive circle moment. Positive circle moment there. Huge advantage. Huge. 0 turnovers. Pretty good. Very good. And I think that was a key in Texas winning the game. If Texas plays like this, they will go and make a case for, let's see, they're 4-2. They've only lost 1 SEC game. They win out. It's going to be kind of hard because they got, on their schedule, they have Kentucky Saturday, they have State, they have Vanderbilt, they have Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M. That's the rest of their schedule. So that's going to be tough. But if they figure out a way to win out, they will go. They could go to Atlanta. They could make the college football playoff. You know what I mean? They could make the college football playoff. It's not unrealistic. They're back in the rankings at 21. If they keep playing the way they're playing, it's not unrealistic. Let's not write Texas off yet after the way they play. They just got to keep playing like that, and then they'll be fine. It's not over yet. Not over. Now, I think we turn the lights off a little bit if they do lose another game. That's just me. So we'll just see what happens there, but it's not over yet. Final score was 23-6. Texas, they have Kentucky, 7 Eastern, 6 Central this Saturday. I got Texas. It's not a pigskin game. I will pick Texas in that one, but very interesting contest there. Texas, 23, Oklahoma 6. They bounced back in a big way in the Red River Rivalry, and they really needed it. Let's talk about Oklahoma before we move on to the last game, and then we'll talk about the coaching carousel and wrap up Pigskin Frenzy. Let's talk about Oklahoma. Very interesting here. They brought back John Mateer. To me, and I'm going to talk about John Mateer in a little bit, they brought him back. A lot was off with Oklahoma. It just seemed like a lot was off overall. And I think that maybe it could have been John Mateer. Could they have rushed him back? I don't know. But he returned. They were hyped up. They had a good first drive. It ended up being a field goal, but still a good momentum drive to start off. And then it was a back and forth in the first half. And then the third half and then in the first quarter, second quarter, it was back and forth. Second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, the wheels just fell off. I wouldn't even say that. I think the wheels fell off a little bit. I think right before half, the wheels started to fall off a little bit. John Mateer had 3 turnovers. He had 3 interceptions. 0 touchdowns, 20 for 38, 202 yards. I think John Mateer is a better quarterback than that. And this is not me making up excuses for John Mateer. I just think he's a better quarterback than that. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Blaylock, 33 yards. Jay Nott only had 2 yards. Mateer only had 5. Robinson only had 7. Deion Burks had 64 yards. Isaiah Santanga had 4. Burks had 5 receptions, 64 yards. Isaiah Santanga had 4 receptions, 61 yards, 15.2 yards per reception. They didn't score a touchdown the whole game. It was only just field goals. Here's the deal. Defense got gassed a little bit after those third down conversions because it demoralizes you. So the defense got gassed a little bit. And I think they got out physical on the line of scrimmage, and John Mateer was hurt. It's not excuses about me missing the pick or anything like that. It's not excuses. I just think those are the things that went wrong for OU because nothing was going right for Oklahoma. They couldn't get the ball down the field at all. They couldn't go. 210 passing yards. Yes, they outgained them in passing yards. But look at this. 258 total yards, 48 yards rushing. They couldn't run the ball. 48 rushing yards. Texas was all over their running game. They could not run the ball. They blew up a lot of John Mateer's design runs. A lot of the throws that Mateer did have were off. I think he was hurt. And that was just me. 16 for 17, not too bad on third down. But let's look at this. They allowed 5 sacks. These are all the negative circle moments. I think the positive circle moment is 210 yards passing with John Mateer hurt. That's a very big positive circle moment for Oklahoma. There's a lot of negative in this game for OU, though. 5 sacks allowed. That's a negative. 5 penalties for 35 yards. Negative. 3 turnovers. Crucial turnovers, that's a negative as well. Special teams, they were good in field goals, but when they punted the ball with punt returns, Ryan Nibley got a touchdown. They missed a block in the back, but it's not going to matter. But still, the special teams weren't all there either. I think mentally they were drained and demoralized. I think Texas was overwhelming them, and Oklahoma lost that game. I think that here's the best case scenario, and here's how I view it overall. I'll go to John Mateer, and then we'll go to Indiana, Oregon. But how I view it overall is this. Texas needed this more than OU did. This is OU's first loss on the year. OU's got a lot to play for still. Got a lot to play for. So does Texas, but OU has a lot to play for still. Texas is running out of time more than OU. Does that make sense? I think Texas is running out of time more than OU. So Texas has to start winning these crucial games to make it count, and they needed this more. I think that's the best thing. And I said this before. Go back and listen to Thursday's episode. I said that Texas needed this more. I'm still going to pick OU, but Texas needed this more, and they played like it. John Mateer did not look right. His hand was still clearly hurt. He's not 100%. And I know that he wasn't 100% because there was a wide open guy in the end zone, and the ball went the other way into a pick right before halftime. So it's like when you look at those throws that he was making, you're thinking, okay, I'm lucky. You're lucky he had 210 passing yards with the way he was throwing the ball. I still think that his hand and everything was still kind of iffy. He was not 100%. He seemed off and didn't play right. Everyone's going to say, well, it could have been the rust because he hadn't played in a few weeks. I think it could have been that, but it also could have been the injury. Could they have rushed him back a little bit too soon? I don't know. It did cost him this game, I believe. So I think Texas played a lot better. I'm not saying John Mateer cost them all that stuff. I'm just saying that Texas outplayed OU and Texas won the game. Texas has Kentucky this weekend. Oklahoma coming up this Saturday has South Carolina at South Carolina, 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 Central. Oklahoma at South Carolina. Going to be an interesting game in Columbia, South Carolina. OU needs a bounce-back win, but South Carolina also needs a huge win as well. So final score was 23-6. Texas beats Oklahoma in the Red River Rivalry. Last but not least, before we go to the coaching carousel talk and wrap up, let's talk about Indiana and Oregon. Oh, oh no. I apologize. That's all I'm going to say. I apologize. I said that Oregon was going to win 35-21. My old friend back in youth group when I was at church, when I was about like 15, 10 years ago, by the way. 10 years ago. I'm 25 now. So they said it's bad when people laugh at you. It's even worse when people point and laugh at you. And then he used to point and go and start laughing. I think that's what people are doing to me right now after this game. I said Oregon was going to win 35-21. I was totally wrong. I was way off. You see that quote from Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey as Lloyd Christmas is saying Samsonite, with the briefcase. Mary Swanson, is that the name? They're looking in the phone book to see where Mary Swanson is, and then he goes, look at the briefcase. It's on the briefcase. Samsonite. I was way off. That's how I feel about this game. I was way off. Final score, Indiana 30, Oregon 20. They beat them by 10. Indiana by 10. They covered and then some. Indiana by 10 points. Indiana 30, Oregon 20. Indiana 30, Oregon 20. 10-point game in Eugene. Kirk Cinetti and Indiana went in and beat them by 10 in Eugene. They did the thing and out-physicaled them as well. Surprising. Fernando Mendoza is that dude. 215 yards, 20 for 31, one touchdown, one pick six. Yes, he had a pick six, but he played well pretty much the majority of the game. Let me go. Roman Hemby, 2 touchdowns, 70 yards, 19 carries. Elijah Surratt, an amazing wide receiver in the Big Ten, and he's proven to be a top 5 wide receiver in the Big Ten. one touchdown, 121 yards, 8 receptions, 15.1 yards per reception. On average, they could not stop Elijah Surratt in this ball game. Elijah Surratt was all over the field in Eugene, Oregon this past Saturday. Indiana on the line of scrimmage was out physicaling Oregon and getting key first downs and creating some big plays. Fernando Mendoza from Cal is a completely different quarterback than he was at Indiana. Going to Indiana was the best decision that Fernando Mendoza could have possibly made because he's turned into a star there, and he's turned into a good quarterback at Indiana. Kirk Cignetti is working with him. He's developing, and he is a solid quarterback in the Big Ten. Let's talk about their team stats, and I'll tell you my thoughts. Because on paper, Indiana beat them in every aspect of the ball game. 326 total yards compared to Oregon's 267. Passing yards, 215 compared to Oregon's 186. 111 rushing yards compared to Oregon's 81. 4.8 yards per play compared to Oregon's 4.2. They were 5 for 14 on third down, so not too bad on third down. Not great, but not too bad on third down. They only allowed 1 sack. They only had 1 pick six. They controlled the clock. 33 minutes and 10 seconds compared to their 26 minutes and 50 seconds. All positive circle moments there. The only thing I would think is clean up the 8 penalties for 45 yards. So minimize the penalties, and you will be fine. Overall, Indiana had a great game plan. They had a crucial turnover, but it didn't affect them in the long run because Indiana won. They were out physical. They out-muscled Oregon up front on both sides of the ball, defense and offensive line. They are a solid and tough and physical football team. The offense is clicking. The defense is clicking. They're physical. They're fast. And Indiana is a lot better this year, it seems like, than they were last year. And they made the playoffs with Curtis Rourke and company. But Fernando Mendoza has proven to be more of a game-changing quarterback than Curtis Rourke at that position. Indiana is looking like they're in prime position to go to the playoff once again. I said it earlier. I said it a few weeks back when we did the Indiana-Illinois game, that this year's Indiana is Indiana, and it's looking like it's going to be a thing there. Kirk Cignetti is saying, Google me, I win. He's right. Back up your trash talk because y'all are coaching well and you're playing well. Here we go with Indiana. And here's my honest thoughts before I go to Oregon and before we get a coaching carousel talk. Here's my honest thoughts with Indiana. My honest thing is this. I believe, and this is what my thing, because I picked against Indiana, against Illinois. I was like, all right, let's see what happens here. I think Oregon's going to win the ball game. I thought they were going to blow them out, all this stuff, 14 points. And then they proved me wrong again. So they proved me wrong twice in key moments. Blew out Illinois at home, and then goes on the road and beats Oregon by 10. And out physicals Oregon and Dan Lanning and company. Out physicals them. Creates explosive plays and gets into the end zone and scores points and finds ways to win. Doesn't let the pick six rattle Fernando Mendoza. He's a completely different quarterback from when he was at Cal, and he finds a way to get things done. Elijah Surratt is a menace at wide receiver to defensive backs and secondary, and Elijah Surratt is becoming a deep personal threat at the receiving core for each DB in the Big Ten Conference. He's a top 5 receiver in the conference, and he's probably a top 10 receiver in college football right now. Here's the thing about Indiana. I don't think I can pick against Indiana again. They made me eat my words Saturday. I am now on board with Indiana. That win Saturday made me go on board with Indiana. I am completely on board with them. I'm on the Kirk Cignetti Indiana train this year. They look like they're in prime position. Savannah Tujay said it, that Indiana could be the team to do it. She warned me, and it was right. Indiana looks like they are in a collision course with Ohio State to go to the Big Ten Championship in December in Indianapolis. Just keeping it real there. It's looking like we're seeing an Indiana-Ohio State collision course for the Big Ten title. Now, it's too early. Who knows? Indiana could drop a game surprisingly, or Ohio State could drop a game surprisingly, but Indiana is looking like they're on that collision course. I cannot bet against Indiana again right now. I just can't do it. It's hard for me to, because they shut me up and made me eat my words twice now. I'm on the Kirk Cinetti and Indiana hype train. I am not going to fall into the problem of picking against Indiana again. I'm just not going to do it. I think they're a good football team. They're a solid football team. I am on board with Kirk Cinetti and Indiana. Final score was 30-20. Indiana, coming up on Saturday, has Michigan State. Michigan State at Indiana at home, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on NBC and Peacock this Saturday. I lean towards Indiana that game as well. So I'm not picking against Indiana again. Not yet. I'm not doing it. I just can't do it. We'll see what Indiana does this Saturday, but Indiana, we're rolling, man. They are rolling. Oregon drops to Indiana. So let's talk about Oregon really quick. Oregon's completely not out of it. They're 5-1. That's only one conference loss so far, one loss of the season so far. They're not completely out of it. Now, it's going to be kind of hard due to the scheduling of other teams and seeing how it goes. They're really going to have like Indiana or somebody lose a couple of games. Maybe Ohio State or Indiana or somebody else behind them. They're going to have things work out in their favor to get back into the conversation to go to Indianapolis. Does Oregon make the playoff? Maybe. They're still in line for CFP hopes. I'm not saying that about Oregon at all. They could go to the college football playoff. I'm just talking about conference championship hopes in Indianapolis. It's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, are they ready? Yeah, I mean, are they really going to go? Are they ready to go? Or I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. We will see. But a lot has to work out in their favor. Dante Moore, he didn't play too bad at all. I mean, 186 yards, a touchdown, 21 for 34. He didn't play bad in some areas. He did have 2 turnovers, which is not the best, but it's going to happen when you're playing a good team like Indiana, I guess. Malik Benson had a 44-yard touchdown. That dime for a touchdown was beautiful in Eugene. I think there were some positive circle moments to look at. I think Dante Moore did his hardest. Something the defense did their hardest. I think that pick 6 was a positive circle moment, and their defense played all the way until the very end. So those things like that from Oregon, they didn't quit and they didn't give up. I think those are some positive circle moments for the Oregon Ducks team this past Saturday. The negative circle moments, I think 3 for 14 on third down was not good. They could not really convert on third down at all. The 2 turnovers were crucial. The 7 penalties for 64 yards were also crucial. They had 6 sacks in this game. Dante Moore got sacked 6 times. So Indiana out-physicaled them up front, and I think that was a big concern. And then 81 rushing yards on the ground. They didn't get to 100 rushing yards. 81 rushing yards is not super bad, but it's not what you envision in a game like this. So those are some of the negative circle moments that I think of Oregon in this ball game. So let's just do this for a second before we wrap up and go to the coaching carousel talk and wrap up this episode. It's not over for Oregon and Dan Lanning yet. So let's not just sit there and say, okay, it's done. They're done. They may not go to the Big Ten championship, but let's not write them off on the college football playoff. I still have them, honestly, in my field of 12 currently right now. I know the Pigskin Frenzy rankings don't come out until another 3 weeks on November 4th, but I have them in my field of 12, honestly. They will most likely could win out. Who knows? I mean, they got a tough schedule. I do believe that. I mean, I think Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota can be wins. Their last 2 games, they have USC and Washington. USC at home, and then Washington in Seattle. So those are their last 2 games. Those could be dogfights. Those could be a back and forth battle between both teams, between those games between both teams. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I think Oregon's got a strong possibility to control their own destiny to go to the college football playoff. Now, going to the Big Ten championship, that's going to be a little bit hard. You're going to have some maneuvering and some losses from others to help you out in that regard. But going to the college football playoff, you control your own destiny. All you got to do is just probably win out, honestly. So that's just my case on it. Oregon's got to clean some things up. I think you just got to clean some things up, like the crucial turnovers. I think the being able to compete up front is going to be a big factor in deciding in these next few games to see if Oregon can make it out. I think Oregon's going to have to figure out a way to, be a little bit more competitive in the trenches to win some of these ball games and to try to win out and go to the college football playoff. I think that's very crucial for Oregon right now, just getting better up front in the trenches. Because I think they really got manhandled in the trenches by Indiana. I really do. So we'll see what happens with Oregon. Oregon this Saturday has Rutgers at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central at Rutgers this Saturday. Going to be a very interesting game there. Final score was 30-20. Indiana, man, I'm not betting against Indiana right now. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm on the Indiana Kirk-Cinetti hype train. Now, Oregon still controls their own destiny for the college football playoff. They just got to figure out some things, especially up front in the trenches. That was my Week 7 recap. Those are the 2-2 games that, for the record that I had, was 2-2 at least. Let's talk about the coaching carousel before we wrap everything up on Pigskin Frenzy. Okay, what happened from June to now? If you would have told me, and I said this in the video on X on Sunday, if you would have told me that the number 2 Penn State Nittany Lions would have lost Drew Aller for the year and fire James Franklin as their head coach by Week 8 or going into Week 8, you would have probably said to me, Joel, you're insane. Well, like I said on the video and on X and on Instagram, the insane is happening in college football before our very eyes. Now, James Franklin no longer the head coach at Penn State. Huge, because you're thinking to yourself, okay, who are they going to get that's better, right? Who are they going to get? Dude, they paid $49 to $50 million. That's a buyout. That's the second largest buyout in college football history, by the way. That's a huge buyout. $49 million, $50 million, a $50 million buyout. That's a huge, expensive buyout. So not only are you going to do that, so here's my thought process. Yes, they're 3-3 and they're 500. They lost to Northwestern. I know they couldn't win a lot of big games, and a lot of big games, James Franklin did not win a lot of big games there. He did not. I understand all of that. My process is this. He still won you enough games to be a 10-plus win team for the past few years, to be in the mix, kind of, right? They were in the playoff last year. They made it to the semifinals and almost went to a national championship. So in all that regard, returning all that talent, coming back, and then having all that talent back, and then going 3-3, I understand that from that perspective, not winning big games. I understand it from that perspective. I think from the magnitude of it, of him being the second winningest coach in Penn State history, and coming off of a semifinal berth from the playoff a year ago, all that, 34-8 for the past few years, is kind of mind-boggling. All that to me is mind-boggling in that respect of like, why would you fire him then? But at the same time, I understand their point. You know what I mean? I understand their point. Who you gonna get that's better? I don't know, but it's happened, and what's done is done. So yes, he's 3-3. They shouldn't have gone 3-3 with the talent that they had. I had them winning the Big Ten. Surprisingly, Penn State was the biggest surprise of everybody's year. Brackets busted, and it's just crazy. So we're praying for James Franklin. We hope he finds something soon. James Franklin, I think, will be a head coach in college football again. A lot of people are going to think, are you insane? I don't care. I think he will find a college football head coaching job somewhere. I said Stanford because I think Stanford will be a unique fit for him there, and they will win games with him as Stanford's head coach. And he will recruit well at Stanford as well. So I think that's a good shot. Everyone's talking about these other head coaching jobs. James Franklin at Stanford, I think, is a good thing. I even bookmarked that tweet. So if I'm Stanford, I hope y'all listening. I think I would try to go after and pursue James Franklin. That's just me. But let's talk about Penn State here. That's the coaches carousel talk we're talking about right now. Let's talk about Penn State. Who's a fit, and what's your thoughts on it? Matt Rule is the leading candidate. Now, you were going to think, yeah, he is the leading candidate. He said on the post-game presser, he said yesterday, or not post-game, but presser yesterday, not really post-game, but presser yesterday, that I love Nebraska, and I love what we're building here. But, man, I'm not going to talk about any college football openings right now. I love what we're doing here, all this stuff. but he didn't completely rule out Penn State. Did you hear? If you go back and listen to what he said, he didn't completely rule out Penn State. I'm not saying yes, not saying no, but you know what it's like? It's like, I'm not saying no either. You know what I mean? Like, he played at Penn State. That's his alma mater. He says he loves James Franklin. He loves the University of Penn. He loves Penn State. He loves the University of Pennsylvania. He loves Pennsylvania State University. He loves Penn State. He loves it. He played there. He loves what he's doing in Nebraska, though. From a fit and cultural standpoint, yes, Matt Rule's a fit. Now, here's the deal. I think he's the ideal fit. Yes, everyone's going to say Kirk Cignetti. I'll get to that here in a little bit. The fit to me is this. Here's my deal. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Why, if I'm Matt Rule, and this is, shout out to Will Compton on this one. Why would I leave Nebraska? A lot of people are going to think, dude, it's Penn State. No, just hear me out. Yes, Penn State's a good thing. It's his alma mater. That's his school. He went there. He played there. Sure, fit, everything, it all makes sense for Matt Rule. Yes, but why, after working so hard to build what he is building, resources, NIL, recruiting to the nines at Nebraska, getting some good caliber players at Nebraska for the Cornhuskers, why would I leave what I'm building at Nebraska after all the hard work that I'm building at Nebraska to start over again at Penn State? Okay, money talks, sure, and money may talk. But I don't know, man. I think what he's doing there, a lot of people value Nebraska. And I think Nebraska is a very valuable job and a very valuable school to coach at. The history and the prestige behind Nebraska is next level. So why would I, if I'm Matt Rule at this time, leave Nebraska on what he is building? Because here's the deal. We're talking about Indiana. We're talking about Oregon, Ohio State, USC's in there. If y'all want to look at somebody that's quietly, y'all better wake up and look at Nebraska's in the race. And Nebraska is, I think, 5-1, if I believe right now. So I would wake up just a tiny bit. Wake up and realize, hey, Matt Rule, year 3, doing something there. So to me, he's got a shot at, if the pieces fall, sneaking in to the Big Ten championship, or even better, sneaking in to the college football playoff if they win out. So again, why would I want to leave after what I'm building up there? That's my thing. Maybe because of more money. Maybe because he went there. I understand that. Kirby Smart went to Georgia. When Georgia was looking for a head coach, they called Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart immediately jumped the gun. Different circumstance, though, because he was also a DC at Alabama. Matt Rule's a head coach. But I just think Matt Rule, I think he should stay. Kirk Cignetti is another one I don't understand. And a lot of people are going to say, dude, who's going to take the job then? I don't know. I don't know who's going to take the job. I think Matt Rule is a fit. I think Kirk Cignetti could be a fit there as well. I'm not saying. I'm giving you my fits. I think those are fits for the job. I just think that, in my opinion, in my thoughts, why would you leave where you're at? I view Kirk Cignetti as an Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz has built up a good program at Mizzou, right? And I wouldn't say easier job, but it's a easier job than most. It's an easier job than Alabama. It's an easier job than Ohio State, right? It's an easier job than Florida, right now. Why would I, after taking Mizzou to Providence, right, would I want to leave anywhere else? If I'm building Missouri up like this, getting wins, getting money, I think I'm good. You know what I mean? Why would I want to leave yet? Same with Indiana. with Kirk Cignetti. Like, why would I want to leave for Penn State when I'm building up here at Indiana, fighting for playoff spots and could be on the way to the Big Ten championship? Like, why would I want to leave? You get what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I don't know. I think those are the two leading candidates. I think they're both fits, but it's honestly like for both coaches, why would I want to leave my prospective schools right now when I'm doing some good things that could honestly, this right now, lead me to the college football playoff? So I don't know. I don't know. That's my overall thoughts on everything. I don't know who's going to take the job at Penn State, but I'm going to tell you this. It's a huge job. You paid a lot of money to get rid of James Franklin. You're going to have to get a good name, but at the same time, it's going to be expensive because not only you paid a really massive buyout to James Franklin, you're also going to have to spend a lot of that money, the same amount of money, on a brand new coach and a brand new coaching staff as well. It's going to be an expensive transition for Penn State. Also, it's a wake-up call, and I said this on X and Instagram on Sunday. It's a wake-up call for coaches out there that ADs aren't really afraid to buy people out, it seems like. They went mid-season, not even at the end of the year with James Franklin. They went mid-season with him after being there for 12-plus years, and they got rid of him. Second winningest coach in Penn State history. Won Big Ten titles. He couldn't win a lot of big games, yes, and that probably factors into a lot. But they cut ties with him. So that's my deal. That's my whole ordeal. I don't know. I think it's a wake up call for a lot of head coaches that need to, or all maybe on the hot seat or just in general. I think it's a wake up call for like, all right, if they're out here doing this, we better start coaching and we better start going, right? Because I think a lot of coaches have looked at that and they're thinking, oh man, if they're willing to do that, what about us? You know, like, so I'm thinking, you know what I mean? This is a wake up call, I think, for coaching and for people who are right now valuing games right now than the money and the contract right now. So that's just my deal. Very bold move. That's all I got to say for Penn State. Very bold move. Guys, we are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. For watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, news, and highlights from across college and NFL football. Just college football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Guys, you're going to get a lot on both social media channels. You're going to get the website as well, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com, for all things Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday afternoon. We're pumped for Thursday. We have a very special guest on for our Week 8 guest picker. We have none other than sports media personality, Jacksonville State sideline reporter, covers a little bit for Auburn football and for Auburn athletics, as well as for Cover Crimson for Alabama. We have Taylor Korn on, formerly of the Next Round. She is a Jacksonville State sideline reporter, sports media personality. Taylor Korn joins the show as our Week 8 guest picker. We're going to talk about her career, her life in sports media, being an Auburn alum, and we're going to preview and predict Week 8 games, including our Week 8 games. Ole Miss at Georgia, Tennessee at Alabama, then the third Saturday of October. We have Notre Dame taking on USC. USC at Notre Dame. 3 Saturday games. And for the first time, a Friday night Pigskin Frenzy game. Louisville at Miami will be a Pigskin Frenzy game this week. We're going to do a Friday night Pigskin Frenzy game and a special Friday night edition of Bedtime College Football Talk on X and Instagram afterwards. So those are the Week 8 games. We're going to preview and predict those with Taylor Korn, as well as get our upset alerts and ranking reactions for Week 8. Guys, going to be a very good episode on Thursday. Make sure you tune in and follow and subscribe on all platforms there. Guys, thank you again for tuning in. 5,400 listeners and 5,400 listeners and counting. About to be at 5,500 listeners. We cannot do this without you guys. And we praise Jesus for giving us the platform to do this. We love him and praise him and give him all the glory for letting us do Pigskin Frenzy and being us and delivering us, letting us be in college football media to spread his name across all platforms. Guys, we're praying for you all. We love you all. I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you Thursday. For everybody out there, Until Thursday with Week 8 guest picker Taylor Corn, I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you Thursday. For everybody out there, please and always stay the course.